Okay, so good morning. And Roz, introduce our guests, will you?
All right.
I will. We have Professor Ababa today. He is our guest lecturer. He's going to share some critical information on education and the trends and racial conflicts and reform happening. So we look forward to hearing his presentation this morning. So it's all yours. The floor is yours, Dr. Baba, and you can go ahead and start.
Okay. Good morning and good afternoon, those who are in Europe. Yes, I think I've kind of been in. I was actually a little bit about me. I'm an educator by profession because I went to what we call Teachers College in Nigeria. So I was certified. After 5 years of Teachers College, I became a certified teacher. So it was not a coincidence that I pick up a job after working in nonprofit organizations as a professor. And so since then, it's something that I enjoy doing a lot when it comes to classroom. However, I've made observations about education. And so it's kind of going to be more like a comparative analysis that I'm going to be doing. What I observe here, basically, as my topic kind of alluded to, is the idea of what I observe over emphasis on cultural, in school, especially in teaching, which I observe as more of a scientific method. So I started this a while ago, but I think it came to become more obvious to me that I think that is maybe the system, how the American education system has been set. When Grandview, my university, introduced something called student success program. So first I didn't kind of quite understand it and read through, have some discussion with people. Then I realized I started questioning whether it is really something designed to help students or designed to kind of place students into category, and realize that it may be more of this grounded fee that has American education system has held for a long time. That is dividing students into what we call the gifted students and the at-risk students. I did communicated with the people a lot, and I was concerned as a minority professor and how it will apply to the minority students in particular. I'm more concerned. Then I started saying, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and try to do research or come up with a theory or a model that I think may be helpful. So, and that model is what I call the KUA model, but with the understanding that teaching and lecture and leveling are things. They are not the same. When I'm lecturing you, I'm just telling you, giving you information and hoping that you will digest it. So that will be in a different level. Always find out that the minority students tend to be at the bottom in terms of achievement. So, and because of that, we are told to kind of, let's get more resources, do this, Francis. You hear people say, well, because they come from this background, they come from that school, neighborhood schools, and therefore we are expected to see that performance. And then the question comes to, is it their ability or it is the environment, per se? So I'm a sociologist, we move from, is it the environment or is it what? If there's the environment, there's the school system, what is going on in the school system that the students, the inner city students, consistently performing at the lower, based on the data report, I would say. So I have to qualify with that, based on the data that they are performing at a lower level. So I start asking the question whether it is their real ability or is there some other factors that influence the result of their performance. And I theorize that it may not be that that is their real ability as students, even though observe and realize that the economic factor should not have anything to do with their performance. Question whether the neighborhood school should have anything to do per se. And 3, whether race has anything to do with their performance. Some variable that we kind of put there to prejudge the students and say, well, this is the way they are. So this is that is my argument. So what I see is that, again, we go back to, then we say, okay, well, we have something called gifted students, and then we got at-risk students. In the terms of gifted students, a discussion about classes, you hear students will say, well, most of the gifted students are from well-to-do family. So they are middle-class family, and therefore they are assigned the label of gifted students. And the at-risk students are basically poor families or lower socioeconomic status family, dealing with the ability of the students, or just labeling them. Then observed in sociology, we have a theory, a labeling theory. One of the 1920s sociologists called W.E.I. Thomas, where he theorized that when people define situation as real, they are real and there are consequences. What does that mean? What he was saying is that, I'd rather give an example so we understand. If I call you a bad person, sometimes it's called bad boy or bad girl, if I use that term, chances are that some teachers will start treating you as the definition is assigned to you as a bad person. So they view you as a bad person. So the student may actually respond to kind of claim that definition for whatever reason, either out of frustration or just feeling, okay, no, I'm a bad boy, therefore I'm going to act like a bad boy. And what happens in that situation is that the teacher may not pay attention as much to the label bad boy. And the bad boy, on the other hand, may not even care what is going on in the classroom because he's maintained my status of a bad boy. So sometimes they don't do well. So the same thing.
I'm sorry to jump in. So what you're saying is that if they have that label of bad boy, then they're subconsciously going to behave like a bad boy. Is that it?
Yes. Yeah.
That sounds just about right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's behave accordingly. And what happened is that they don't care about anything anymore. So before you know it, they are being referred to, the focus now will be on them, on this quote unquote bad boy, by the teacher, by the principal, and everybody. So inwardly, they become frustrated. So out of the frustration, they start acting out. And then you hear a lot of suspension and other things. And before you know it, they drop out of school. They graduate, they just what we call social promotion. They just push to just, okay, go and finish, go and finish, take some summer classes and finish. But so that affects their performance, of course. Why does it affect their performance? Well, when we observe teaching is like I call it art scientific process. It's a little bit different from lecture. If I'm in high school, I'm teaching science. What I expect the student to learn is the terminologies. And those terminologies are exactly defined. So if I want them to know about photosynthesis in biology and about photosynthesis, they will have to recall it just like it is in the book, or the way I define it on the blackboard for them to pass it. If I ask them to give me the formula for water, for example, in biology or chemistry, they will write H2O. It doesn't matter where they are, they will write them to get the correct answer. So they're not going to be where to come up with their own idea of what H2O is, because that is scientific. The same thing, if I'm teaching sociology and I ask the student, what is sociology? The definitions of sociology are in the book. They may vary a little bit, but generally they are the same. It means the same. If I come up with a theory, Karl Marx theory, or Durkheim theory, or Weber's theory, they will always sound similar or the same in all books. The basic ideas are the same. It doesn't matter what book you read, and it doesn't matter what language you speak, whether it is translated in Russian, in Spanish, in French, in English. The idea of Weber's bureaucracy will be there. Karl Marx's idea of economic or alienation will be there. Durkheim's idea of enemy will be the concept that I would like them to know. And if I write a test, I expect them, if I say, what is enemy? I expect them to tell me that enemy is the same way that Durkheim defined it. So students and teachers are now meeting, they have a meeting of the mind, and that's what teaching is the meeting of the mind, but it's based on scientific, all terminologies. I see in my observation, structure, as much as they are constructed socially, because they are now structured, we define them the same way in all books, and we present them the same, very similar. So because they are structured, so that means that they are now scientifically based. So if I say, what is enemy? Professor or student from Tennessee State, Grandview, Spain, they will all define it the way it was designed to be defined. It was designed to mean. It's not going to say, well, I want to change the definition. If they want to change it, they can do that, but we all have to agree now that this is the way we have come to define enemy, normlessness or lawlessness in society. This is what I mean by teaching as a scientific. So the same thing in high school, I always use myself as an example because I went to school in Nigeria. I started from the beginning. Well, first, the whole idea that I will learn a different language, the English, because everything that I'm going to do is going to be in English. And through my graduating, so I had to start with the A, B, C, D. So when you look at it, the learning process, that's why I say to become a teacher, student-centered, because the teachers and the students are communicating the same mind. They are reaching out the same mind. This symbol means A, and everybody in classroom now will learn that this is A. So since they're scientific, that means I have to deliver it to the students. So that's what I mean by it's scientific. So we either you can say memorize it, teaching in that way. Teaching start from the beginning. My goal is that students will follow, right? But if I'm coming to class, which I see with the expectation, there's something called I am expecting you to know in this society. That's what I mean by the judgment. I'm expecting you to know because your parents are educated. I put expectation on you. And then the other ones are thinking, well, they are from a poor family. So I don't expect you to know much, but I can, try to play around with you, make you feel comfortable so that you don't get frustrated. But there's little or no teaching, but that's why I look at it more of it's more judgment, something. And that's what I kind of look at it. So it's a working paper. Actually, I'm trying to make in the handbook of teaching, because I think that a lot of opportunity is being missed in our students today, especially what we call the disadvantaged group, especially in the inner city. And we see the drop out. We see the performance again compared with the suburb, that they have this self-fulfilling prophecy that they are better, they are good school, they are better school, but most of the time we see it in terms of the good building, the good security, whatever it is. And then you compare with the inner city, most people have seem like because of the self-fulfilling prophecy One of the arguments that I made in my schools against this program was that my concern, I would say, was that when a student is labeled, say, oh, you come from this family, and therefore your performance is expected this way. So if then the whole mentality that, one, you are not supposed to do more than what I give you. Two, sometimes some teachers will give grade not based on performance, but okay, well, now everything's subjective. So differential grading of students. I think as a Black professor here, I've had a lot of such complaints from students, actually. I'm from the idea that I see you are from this person or this group, and therefore I already put you into this category, and you are not expected to go beyond this one. And that's what I mean by judgment, psychical judgment. You become more of a subconscious or conscious of doing, it could be conscious or subconscious sometimes. Sometimes subconscious, sometimes maybe actually conscious. In the case of these students, it was conscious because the students, the way they explained the thing, rating I was shocked, totally shocked that it happens. So that's why I come up with the idea of the KUA model. So the KUA model stands on the idea that we teach the student to know the material you have, and that's what I call the K model. In the process, you have to help them understand those materials. They understand it. Sometimes when people understand something, it's easier to retain it than if they just know it and they don't. And three, with understanding, they're able to apply it where it is